Hey guys, welcome back to Insomniac Stream. Happy New Year. We are starting off 2019 with a creepy giant smile. This was inspired by this SFX makeup look for a massive grin. If anyone knows the original artist, please let me know in the comments. I've tried reverse image searching this one and hunting across the interwebs with very little success, but I would love to give credit where credit is due, so please let me know. The original is in a full prosthetic style, so I wanted to see if I could create something similar with face paint and makeup, and this was the result. I hope you guys like this one, and let's jump straight into the tutorial. To figure out the proportions, I took a warm tone brown shadow on a detail brush and outlined the contours of the mouth over top of my own features. This was important for me figuring out how to hide the nose and lip shape so the teeth look a little bit more properly situated. Once I had that based out, I took a cream face paint called Bone. I love using this color for teeth since it's actually more of an off-white, which is a little bit more true to a tooth color as opposed to pure white teeth. And I started sketching in the different shapes of the spiked teeth that I wanted. And for the teeth that sit on the sides of the nose, I actually drew them a little bit fatter than the others. If you look at them from the side, they're going to be much thicker, but it means that when you look at them straight on from the front, they will actually be the right tooth shape. So it's a little bit of a change to their design just so that from the front the illusion works a little bit better. And as you can see for this mouth, I wanted the teeth to be really random. Some overlap each other, some aim in different directions. I did not want a pretty smile for this design, so you can do whatever you want with the teeth shape. I tend to go for a teardrop look. It's the easiest way for me to remember how to do the shape for them, and then just put them wherever you want. If you leave gaps between them, it'll just be a gross gap in the gums, which works for this look. And then for the gums, all I did was take a pink water-activated face paint and fill in above and around the teeth. Sorry, this is slightly out of focus. I didn't realize that I was not in the correct spot with my camera. But the idea is still totally there. Just fill in around the teeth. Again, if you have bigger gaps, just fill those sections in and you can shade them later to make them look like recessed or missing tooth areas. Jumping back to the brown shadow I used originally, I started shading the teeth at the point where they connect to the gums. This will not only help them look more gross and stained, but also start building dimension on the teeth. I was using a very small detail brush for this, and it allowed me to actually pull the shadow down in little lines, which kind of added striations to the teeth. Very subtle detail, but it actually helps to make them look a little bit more textured. And of course, for any teeth you want to make look overlapping, you can add more shadow to the tooth that would be behind the front one, just to make it look like it's sitting further back. And then to continue adding color to the teeth, I figured brown wasn't quite enough, so we need some gross yellow on there as well. So I took a NYX shadow and started applying it in the same areas, and this I also applied to the tips of the teeth. That way the very ends of them also look a little bit grungy and gross. With the tooth color down, I went ahead and took a matte black shadow on a fine liner brush and just added this to the edges where the teeth would be recessed into the gums. I like doing this with shadow just because it made it so it could be a little bit softer and easier to fix if you add a little bit too much, if you're a little too heavy-handed. And the inconsistencies you can get with a shadow application actually help here, since it wouldn't be a full even shadow all the way around the tooth. There would actually be areas that are darker than others, so this made it a little bit easier to obtain that. Then taking a blush from Makeup Geek, it's just a bit of a deeper pink than the original gum color. I went ahead and just used this to shade around the gums, add a little bit of extra dimension, and shape some of the teeth in the more protruding areas. Now to delete your real mouth and fully replace it with this new drawn-on mouth, I went ahead and took a matte black water-activated face paint. I used a detail brush to go around all of the teeth. This helps if you need to fix their shapes at all or clean them up a little bit. This is a great step for that. And this is where leaving certain areas like the side of your nose and around your lips completely free of painted on teeth really helps for the illusion. That way, when you black all of it out, it actually disappears as opposed to being obvious from the contours of the mouth. And then I just made sure to fill in everything else, going over my mouth and around every little bit of tooth that I could find. And then you want to make sure to set the black with a matte black eyeshadow as well. This just helps it so there's no extra shine from the water activated face paint to kind of give away where your mouth sits. And then we definitely need to add some highlighting to the gums and the teeth just to help them pop out, as well as make the gums look a little bit more wet since they would be quite slimy and gross on this mouth that I'm creating. And for this, again, using a nice fine liner brush. This is an artist liner brush, 000 if you're ever looking for them. Very useful to find in art stores as opposed to a makeup store. And you can go over all little areas, adding shine wherever you need it. And then for this look, I felt drool was very necessary and would just add another dimension to the smile. So for this, I used the exact same white water activated face paint that I was just using. And to go about this, I often started with a little circle area that would be kind of a bubble in the slime. This is really gross to explain. And then just adding different lines coming down and reaching up towards it and having it connect to different parts of the mouth. This looks way more complicated than it is. It's honestly just throwing down some white and adding some squiggly lines to it, and you will have some really fantastic looking spit coming out of your monster mouth. But also don't forget to add some dripping off of some of the teeth because that looks really cool and even more gross. With these looks, you know I like to keep the rest of the face pretty simple. For this, I just took some of the red cream paint from my Ben Nye wheel and applied it around my eyes and just blended it out so it looked very irritated and kind of sickly. And then I took my concealer and applied this to the edges of the mouth, just in certain areas to, again, just add a little bit of lift to the skin to make it look more dimensional and less flat. And then I followed that with the reverse, going in with some brown shadow. First, the same color I had been using for the teeth and the original outline, and then I took also a deeper brown from one of my NYX palettes and added that to make everything look much more recessed. And then I also used the brown shadow to add a few extra lines around the mouth, as well as a little bit of shadow over the teeth that I wanted to kind of sit outside on the very edges. And then I also used the brown shadow over my eyes, again, just to make them look a little bit more grungy, and I used a stipple sponge with the same shadow to add a bit of texture around my face and neck. Then I did quickly take my water-activated black face paint on a very fine detail brush and lightly outline the mouth just so it was a little bit better defined. And then I took a black shadow and just shaded around the edges, as well as adding more shadow to the back side of the mouth or the farther outside edges to make the teeth near the back look a little bit more recessed than the ones right at the front. And then final touches were to just take the white again, add a little bit more drool coming out of the mouth, as well as buff up any areas that I may have dulled with the black shadow, and then you will have yourself a creepy, drooly giant smile. Also, you know it's true love when your cat still wants to cuddle when you have a giant creepy smile on your face. And that is it for my giant smile tutorial. Glad we could start off the New Year's with something so soft and pretty. Please let me know what you think in the comments, as well as letting me know what you want to see more of this year. If you haven't already, subscribing means the world to me and makes such a difference, you have no idea. But either way, thank you for just tuning in. I hope you have an amazing week. Thank you so much for watching. I, of course, will see you next video. So until then, bye guys.